Hello, welcome back to Beaumont's Home Kitchen. And so today we'll be making a classic French dish called beef bourguignon. So I'll show you Beaumont's version on beef bourguignon. And let's get started. So as you can see, I picked up roughly about this would be like roughly about 1.5 pounds of brisket. So what I'm gonna do, so we get that nice, we're gonna season this and sear it, and we're just gonna pat it down. Make sure we get all the juices out, and it really helps to get that nice sear, so you wanna make sure you do that before we season. Flip her over. And you will notice on the bottom there is some fat on there. You don't wanna cut that off, That's really good flavor for your stew or beef bourguignon, so you would definitely want to keep that on there. All right, we're gonna chop this up. I'll show you the size of the cubes roughly you want. Yeah, cut it into 3 across. And also, if you go to the supermarket and they don't have brisket, or you go to your local butcher and they don't have brisket, you can use chuck. Chuck is a good option as well, really good for stew, and it'll roughly do the same thing. You could also do pretty much any, like a cross rib is good. So try to pick anything that's something you'll have to cook for a while. So the ones I would suggest is a cross rib, a chuck, or brisket. Really important for any type of stewing, because definitely helps for that. So chop it up. You roughly want to try to get to roughly the same size pieces, so they'll cook evenly. So toss all the stew on a plate, and then we're going to season. Salt. And pepper. Pieces over a little, get the seasoning on. Try to get them on all sides, but top and bottom side is good. More salt. Pepper. Heat up our pan. So our beef is ready to go in the pan. You just want to make sure the oil is hot and it kind of sizzles when you put it in. That's always a good sign. You hear the sizzle? That's the perfect thing. Toss all the pieces in there. Thing to make especially in the winter time. Who doesn't love a nice stew, right? Well, elevated stew. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all our nice seared beef and toss it into our pressure cooker. Yeah, I'm going to use I recently bought a pressure cooker, and I totally recommend if you're going to start, braising things and cooking things more, I would recommend a pressure cooker. You can do it, you definitely can do it in the oven, either or. You also get pretty much the same results, either or. So it's totally up to you if you want to do it in a pressure cooker, or you can do it in the oven. And if you do it in the oven, it just will take longer. It's close to 3 hours. So yeah, so we're gonna toss this into the pressure cooker. So we'll get started on our what we need for the veggies. So I got some nice carrots there. And we're gonna peel the carrots. Let's take the little ends off the carrots. And we're gonna chop them up. Try to get even sizes if you can. Chop them all up. Yes, it looks like a pretty good size. There we go. So there's our carrots, and you toss those carrots right into the pot. And we have some nice leeks, so we're gonna chop those up. Probably gonna use some of these leeks. Probably not all of them. We'll probably do like about probably a little under half, I would say. Chop these guys up. And I'll show you the trick for washing them. Chop the leeks up. Chop them kind of in half and chop, chop, chop. Always is such a nice flavor for stews, leeks. And we're going to toss them in a bowl with cold water. And it'll help clean them and get the, because with leeks you get a little bit of sand on there and dirt, so you want to make sure you get that out. Kind of had them tossed in a bowl there, just like so. You know, kind of shake them around a little and just let them, let them kind of soak for about 5 minutes, and then you can toss them into the pots. And hey, if you've gotten this far in the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. There'll be a lot of other videos coming. Alright, we're going to chop the onion up. Yeah, we're just going to chop it for stool, like so. They don't have to be like super small, but just kind of in chunks. Chop, chop. There we go. Into your pot. Just get a few of the thyme leaves. Toss that in the pot. With the, you can also put the stems in there because we're gonna. I'll show you how to strain the. We're gonna strain the stock afterwards. So the juices that are gonna be, we're gonna braise in the pressure cooker. We're gonna show you take that juice and we're gonna make kind of like a gravy out of it. So I'll kind of show you that. So you don't really have to worry about getting perfect leaves. You can throw some stems in there, that's totally fine. Also toss some garlic in there. A couple cloves. Crush them. I always like to take that little stem part off. You don't have to, you can leave it on, but I like to take it off. Voila, into the pot. So you want to grab a couple bay leaves, lovely bay leaves. So when I grab a couple of those, toss those in there. So those are pot and all the stuff in there, and we're going to put a half a cup of wine, and with the wine you make sure you can drink the wine as well. I always like to, when I'm cooking, I always like to drink wine too. So yep. So the rule of thumb, you can pretty much use like any type of wine, but if you can drink it, you can cook with it. So that's a simple rule. I'm going to add some beef stock and chicken stock, and I've actually made these stocks myself. You can use store-bought ones, but I would suggest if you're going to use the store-bought stocks, always look for the stocks that have low sodium because usually the regular stocks in the store have, they're really high in sodium. So you can use the ones in the store. I recommend you make them yourself, and I'll give you some information on how to do that in some of the future videos coming up, because I always make my own stock. So I'll show you like how we do that. So we're going to do chicken stock and beef stock, roughly about 1 cup of each, so a total of 2 cups. Dump that in there. All right. Kind of toss our leeks in there. They should be pretty clean. And you'll see some of the sand kind of at the bottom, and you'll know they're clean at that point. So you toss those leeks in there. All right. What you want to remember for the stocks is pretty good. What you want to remember is you want the, I don't know if you can see that, but the line for where the beef is, or where the stock is, and where the veggies are. You just want to make sure it's not too high and not low enough, right? So you want to make sure it's kind of over the beef. That's super important. So remember that. And I'm probably gonna add just a touch more. So just a touch more stock. So. But yeah, we're ready to go. It's gonna, and on the pressure cooker, the setting I use is for like beef stew, and it's just gonna pressurize in there for 60 minutes, and then I'll show you the next step at that point. And also let me know how your guys' day is going, and get down below and let me know how your day is going, and let me know what you guys are cooking. I love food so much. I just really want to know what you guys are doing, so let me know, because it gives me different ideas about different things I can cook and do, and I just really love food so much. I just want to hear what you guys are cooking, so let me know down below. Comment. Thanks. So now what I'll be doing is making a small roux, and I'll show you how to do that. And that's for the so I can make the gravy for the beef bourguignon thick. So this is the way I do it. So I get the butter going in there. So there's roughly about the same amount of butter to the same amount of flour, and then I'll add about close to like a half a cup of milk, right? Depending on how thick you want it, right? And I usually like it fairly thick, right? And I'll show you the process on how to do a roux. And we're gonna do a white roux. You can also do blonde roux, and you can also do, or actually, sorry, we're gonna actually take this to. Normally I would make a white roux, but I'm actually gonna make a more of a brown roux because of the. I want the gravy a little darker, so I'll show you how to do that when we come back. So I'm just gonna add the butter's like melted, so I'm just gonna add the flour. Which are about the same amount, so about 2 tablespoons of each. And mix that up. Yeah, looks like a good amount. And cook that out a bit. It's funny, when I cook, I always change my mind a lot. So now I'm gonna do. Normally, what I would do is put milk there, but I'm actually gonna take this to more of a brown roux, right? For the gravy. So I'll show you how to do that. Yeah, just keep mixing and just gonna. I don't know if you can see that color. Well, that's the color we're looking for. I'm gonna do more like a blonde one, so blonde roux. So that's what we're looking for. To thicken the sauce. Wow. Add some milk. Use the whisk here. Let it thicken up. So pretty much it'll come to a boil, and then that's when it's ready. So. And you want to whisk. Some more milk. Right. see, it's what I could have done is gotten it a bit darker, but I decided to just toss some milk in there, and it's more of like a blonder style roux. Fairly white as well, but I'm totally fine with that. So I just thought I'd show you the process of that. And normally you don't have to add milk. I just do something I do. But you can just take before you added the milk, you can take that flour and that butter and then add it to the sauce, right? So that's how you do that. There you go. It's kind of two different techniques into one. So. This is our. But you can see the color. Like it still has a little bit of color for the darker gravy, and you could even take that the brown roux even just a little bit further, and there you go. Okay, so this is a finished the stock that I finished, and what we're going to do now is take the meat out of there. So we'll do that, and I'll show you how we're going to strain the sauce. And what I was explaining about the sauce before, so I made a bechamel sauce. And it's more of like a white sauce, right? And I was just showing you that if you wanted to use the first part of the technique, which was the browning the flour, you could add that to your gravy. And I just don't mind having like a whiter gravy, so that's why I used made it into like a bechamel sauce, and I'm just going to use that to thicken the gravy. So you can either do like either technique is totally fine. I just like to have more of a whiter gravy. That's just my personal preference. So yeah, so that's why I thought I'd show you both techniques, and that's I think the best way to describe those techniques is kind of a classic French thing. So there you go. So we're going to take the meat out of there. Yeah, I just didn't want any confusion with the techniques that I was showing you. So we're going to take the meat out of there. And what you want to do if you want to test the meat, just make sure it's tender. It'll just kind of fall apart. I'll kind of show you that after I test it out here. Looking good. Want to find out, yeah, so if you want to find out if the meat is tender, you just take a fork like so, and it should just kind of fall apart just like that. And then you know it's definitely very tender. That's definitely a tender piece of meat. So we're just going to continue to take the meat out of there. Okay, all right. And the reason we're taking the meat out, we're going to strain that sauce, so we try to get all the meat out. And you don't want to lose any of those pieces of stew that we seared up and done up here. Let's try to take all these things out of here. All right. Such a beautiful smell too. Yummy. So I've taken all the meat out of there. Now I'm going to strain the sauce, and I'll show you how that's done. So I've dumped the sauce into the strainer, just right out of the pot. So now, see all that juice that's coming out of there? We want to save that, right? So we want to get that in the sauce. So we want to get that. Good stuff. All right. Yeah, you want to definitely keep all that lovely little juice. Oh. All the flavor in the sauce there, so we want to keep that. Turn our stocky off, or sorry, our pressure cooker off. Okay. And I'm also going to, with this stuff, I'm actually going to reduce a certain amount of it because it really intensifies the flavor of the sauce or stock. So we'll toss that into. like a medium heat, and I'm just gonna reduce this down quite a bit, and we'll try the sauce. Give the sauce a taste. See how it tastes. Wow. Yeah, once that reduces down, this is gonna be a very nice gravy. So I can't wait. So I'll show you one part. There's a little bit of stuff you want to skim, and I'll kind of show you what to do with that. It's kind of like a little bit of fat, so you always want to trim that off, or skim that off, right? So it's all kind of on the edges. You can kind of sort of see it. Yeah, and as the sauce reduces, if you see any little bubbles coming up and a little fat on top, you want to try to skim that off. Yeah, so our sauce is just about reduced. For our gravy, just about reduced by half. Just kind of skimming the last little stuff off there. Yeah. And we got our bechamel sauce there. So what we'll do is so we have the whisk in there. I'm just going to dump a little bit at a time, and then you control the thickness of the sauce. So we're just going to dump a little bit in, a little bit in here. So, and we'll see how that goes. And all you're going to do is whisk, whisk, whisk. Whisk, whisk, whisk. And we're just going to wait for it to come back to a boil, and we'll see what the thickness consistency is. And we might have to add, I'm thinking we might have to add a bit more. So. Oh, and this gravy will be good for so many things. So this will be a good gravy. So yeah, I've just get started on some veggies. All right, so we got some nice shiitake mushrooms here. We're gonna fry them up and chop them up. So we'll chop them up first. Like so. So our shiitake mushrooms are just about chopped up. Chop, chop, chop. Oh yeah, shiitake mushrooms are such a nice mushroom. They're very meaty, so really good for. I personally like them in beef bourguignon. Very good. All right, those are all chopped up. Chop some garlic up. We're gonna crush it first. Nice little bit of fresh thyme with the mushrooms and the garlic. Oh, it's so fresh, I just picked it up. Beautiful stuff. And again, I take the stems. I don't know if I mentioned this before. What I do with these stems, I throw them in a little baggie and I save them for the next time I make a stock. Really works well. It's perfect, So we're going to toss that in the freezer. Just toss the carrots in there so that those are boiling, and then here is our gravy, which is looking pretty good. It's starting to thicken up pretty nicely. And there we are. So all I'm doing is heating up the pan, and once the pan's nice and hot, we're going to toss some oil in there, and we'll saute up the mushrooms. Pan's hot, oil. Oil heat up. So the oil is nice and hot. Dump the mushrooms in. Saute the mushrooms. Mushrooms always soak up a lot of stuff, so a little bit more oil. Alright, so the mushrooms are getting happy, so just always season, so pepper, salt. Not a lot of seasoning, but just a little bit, because, you know, the mushrooms don't come seasoned. At least not where I come from. Yeah, we're just gonna saute those up so they're all getting nice and happy. Show you another little thing. Add a little bit of flavor, just a touch of butter. Smelling good. Just a touch of rosemary. Always a nice herb as well, nice flavor. Garlic. It's a bit of garlic, but it's good. Fresh thyme in there. Voila. And we're just gonna keep sauteing it. It'll start to smell all garlicky, and the herb will start to smell. It's smelling good now. Super creamy. So lemon, a little bit of lemon juice. Not a lot, just a little. Much more salt. Stir that up. Yeah, and pretty much what you want to do, if you see any like white around the edges, you want to always skim that off. So just did that, so good. I'm strain the veggies, and then I'm going to put a touch of water and some butter in there, just to make sure they're all happy. All right. And yeah, so the butter and the water is all in there. And you're going to put seasoning. Remember, these little veggies don't come seasoned. You want to put a little salt. And it wasn't a lot of butter. We're talking like about not for lots. Under a tablespoon of butter, just to make sure those veggies are happy. So we'll do the final plating and presentation for the beef bourguignon. So I have the always nice to serve it with a little bit of toast. So I have the toast here. Veggies, carrots, and lovely carrots and veggies. Right. The meat. There's a few pieces of meat in there. The ones we took out of the stock a while ago. So put them back on the plate. Yeah, a few pieces. 4 pieces or so. Onto the plates. Pretty good. Now we'll add one more in that one. There we go. Don't want to be cheap. Lovely shiitake mushroom. Gravy. So there you have it. Beef, Beaumont's version of beef bourguignon. So hope you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And I can't wait to show you the next video, which is something delicious to go with the for dessert to go with the beef bourguignon, some nice panna cotta. So the next video, wait for the panna cotta.